this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, July 1st. I remembered to put my July 1st thing up here, like right before I pressed record. It's like, oh yeah, gotta change that out. It's probably my favorite one with the little flamingos. Let's get into it. I want to do this quickly. I have a very busy week ahead. Every day has multiple things in it, so I may get some stitching on some days. Today is probably the main day that I don't know if I'll get anything done, but we shall see. I started off last week with Dragon Ride. So this is that one by Teresa Wensler. And I'm doing this for my son. Get that out of the way. This is what that looked like last time. And here's where I got to. So I did spend a couple days on this, and I finished the last yellow color right here and then brought that color down through here. I had a little bit more on my needle, and so I was starting to do some of it up here in the border, and I still have some on my needle to finish next time. And I'll finish that color into the border before I move on to probably the next, sorry, I'm moving this around a lot, probably to the next yellow, because there's three shades total in this yellow area. There's a lighter and a darker, just like up here. So I will work on that later, but I thought that was fun because the goldy yellow colors are my son's favorite color, and so I had to do that part first. So I thought that turned out fun, and I enjoyed working on that. I always do. I am kind of rushed today, pressed for time, but I hope to be able to come most Mondays, I think, at least in July. There's a high likelihood I should be able to come every week. So I know I showed you stuff for 2 weeks last week, but I won't do that going forward. I think I'll just do 1 week, at least for the near future. The next thing I worked on was Nora, My Letter H Fairy by Nora Corbett. And I almost didn't get any time on this, but I decided to go ahead and had a tiny time, a little bit of time at the end of the day, and I might have not done temperature piece that day or something in order to get something done on this, but that's kind of what happens when I only have one day on something, is then sometimes the temperature thing gets bumped if I run out of time. So, but I did get one length of thread done on this, so that was nice. This is what that looked like last time. Here it is now. I did the darker green throughout all of here, and then I think I might have added some of it over here too. So one length, I have something on my screen, there we go. I have one length of that darker green is what I did, and I forget what, I think it was the one that's called for, Desert Mesquite was that color. Ah! Sorry. So that was Desert Mesquite, and one length of thread is better than nothing, so that was pretty good. And I managed to, I pulled all the colors I need for this one and just put them in the bag here because I had been keeping them in a box with everything else, where all my fancy flosses were, because I had two of these fairies going at the same time, and some of them used the same color, or some colors were used in both of them. But now that my S fairy is finished, I figured I'll just grab all the colors I need for this one and keep them in here, so I don't have to go back to my boxes every time, and I'll just have them all with me. So this could end up being a good one to take places occasionally, because this is a fairly short thing. I could easily stick it in here along with it, and then just grab some scissors and I'm good to go. So that would be nice occasionally if I need to do that. And then I worked on my twisted band sampler. I wasn't sure yet if I was gonna enjoy working on this, but once I got it out, so I wasn't sure if I would want to work on this or not. This is Twisted Band Sampler by Northern Expressions Needleworks. But once I got it out, I decided I really wanted to focus on getting this top color done in these flowers, the cross stitch band, and get that done, because I'd been working on that the last several times I've got it out, because it's just takes a while. Each of these bands is not small. And so over, what days were those? Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I worked a good amount on this. And Saturday especially, I just kind of buckled down and put a lot of time into it, which was a lot of fun. And I managed to get that finished. I don't think I need anything behind it. So this is what that looked like last time. And here is where I got to. I managed to finish this cross-stitching band all the way down and then started on the next color, which is a lighter orange. So there's 3 shades of pink, 3 shades of orange, and then it'll go into 3 shades of like yellow. So that's really fun. That was such a good goal to get to that when I didn't have a lot of time yesterday on Sunday to stitch, so when I did have time, I decided I'd rather work on my temperature quilt and get that caught up some more. So I'm happy to get to this color, and I really want to work on this too because I think this will go a little faster than the last color because it's not as thick. Like the band, the halfway point is higher up, so this is less than half. So I think it'll stitch up faster than the other color did. And then I'll get to the specialty stitches, which is really my favorite part of this. The next specialty stitch band comes to the final corner over here. So that'll be the width, which is really fun to know that will be the widest it will be. But that won't be this time around. I'll do that next time. I'll finish out this color in the stitching, or work on finishing that color in the stitching. I don't know how long it'll take me, but yay! So that's fun. I did enjoy that. And yesterday, like I said, I worked on my quilt with the only time I had, just to get a little bit more of the sashing done and get ready for July, which is here now. I won't be able to stitch any July blocks until tomorrow, but it is ready for them if I do. So I'll show those to you now. It's still out because I was just working on it last night. I thought I might have more time last night and I ended up not, so it's not all the way cut up, but it's close. This is the mock-up of the temperature quilt, and this is what it looked like before, and here it is now. So last night I finished out the sashing down here and then brought it over the top and then started down here. This was just the end of my string. This little chunk right here was the end of this string that I had been using, and I needed to make sure I got the top done above July so I could start July, and then I pulled a new string and started the sashing for the first block and then just parked it for later. And I did these 2 highs yesterday also, but now I need to go back and fill in all these lows, which are actually only 2 different colors for all those days. It's 2 or 3 different temperatures over right at the break of a color change, and so there's 2 different colors. So that actually isn't going to take that long because the lows are slightly smaller than the highs, and not changing your thread will make it go really fast. So that's almost to the end of June. I could do this one today, but today's my day to work on my balloons. So there's one more day down there in June. Still not super hot, but it's been into the 80s this week, so sort of feeling like summer. It's been a nice cool year so far. That has been very nice. So here's my balloons. So this is cut up except for what I can do on it today. It's the mock-up. And this is what that looked like last time. And here it is now. I didn't get any more done on that basket, but I did work on my temperature, so I'm caught up as of the last time I worked on this. So today I'll get to do 2 more blocks, and then it'll keep trucking along. So really enjoying this. It's coming along really nice. And this is both of these are on 28 count light blue even weave 1/1, and the same fabric I'm doing my Two Sons pieces on. So it's like I bought a bunch of that at Hobby Lobby. And actually both of my temperature pieces were cut from the same piece of fabric. And I think the other two were whole pieces. So I also had a little bit of time on my travel piece. So I'm working on November. Oops. Fort in the way. I worked on it this morning at swimming lessons, so I'll be doing that several days this week and next week. So that will be a nice time to get some love on this, because the summer travel time is hit and miss. It's either a lot of nothing or larger chunks, so it's not as consistent as in the school year. But I am hoping to make some progress on this in the next couple weeks, at swimming lessons at least, and maybe taking it to a family get-together. May have some time to stitch there. So we'll see. This is what it looked like before. And here is where I'm at now. I managed to finish the lighter peanut brittle shade. It's in the border and in some of these leaves. So I got that done, and then started in on one length of steamed broccoli, I think it is the green in this. So yes, steamed broccoli. These are all the called for colors. This is light gray. It's dove gray Monaco, 1/1 on 28 count. So I'll do more of this green. I think there's green. The rest of the green I think is just in the border. There's big leaves, and then I'll move on to the red after that. So I'm excited to make some progress on this at swimming lessons, because I think that'll be a nice time. I'm working on it also during ice skating lessons, but it seems like I was able to focus a little bit more during swimming time. So maybe I'll be able to focus more at both lessons this week, and that'll be fun to work on them both. So going forward, I'll just recap what I told you already I was going to work on this week, and I'll just pop in some before pictures from what I showed you before, just to save time. I don't know if I'll have any time today to stitch on anything, but if I do, I'm hoping to get a little bit done on Simpsons for my husband's piece, because it's the first. And for the sake of time, I probably will not do any outlining stitches today. I'll just work on Marge's hair. So this is what that looked like last week, which is where it still looks today. And I'm hoping to fill in, grab a length of that blue and just see how far I can get, because that will be the most noticeable difference for however little time I have to stitch today. So, and then the next day, hoping to work on Touchdown for my son, and this is what the leaflet looks like. There's no date on this, but it's fairly old, I'm sure. I found mine on Etsy, and this is what that looked like before. Again, I'll probably work on the white in his jersey, and then if I still have time after that, I'll work on filling in the gray accent colors in the jersey, and we'll see how far it goes, how much I get to. And then the next one, I'll work on Lady of the Flag for 3 days to go along with 4th of July, and I think I was planning to work on the flag, that's the word. And so this is what that looked like before, and I'll see how much of that blue flag I'll have time for. We'll be busy during the day, but not at night, so I may still get some time to stitch on that on the 4th of July, and it will have the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, so we'll see. There's a chance that it will get some love. And then the 6th and the 7th are the start of the Tour de France Sal in Full Coverage Fanatics on Facebook. And so I'm planning to do Quick Stitch Iris. I still need to take my before picture and send it to them. But you'll see a picture here of where I was last time, and I'll just keep plugging away at counting my stitches for that one on all the various days throughout July where they have a flat leg or a time trial, because those are the ones I'm doing. And if I can work ahead and I can make up time, which is nice. So if I'm sufficiently caught up and I feel like I have more time to stitch, I'll work on my temperature pieces or any other piece I feel like needs a little bit more attention. So that's kind of my plan on those days. And last but certainly not least, I did some framing last night. I went to Hobby Lobby earlier in the week. It felt like forever ago, actually. I don't know, I don't remember when I went, but I washed this piece on Saturday. I was very pleased with how clean it was able to get, and then framed it up yesterday. So this is Midsummer Roses, all finished and framed. And hopefully there's only minimal glare there for you. This is a frame I got at Hobby Lobby, off the rack, 9 by 12. I was realizing after I filmed last week that a document frame, 8.5 by 11, would work for this, and I looked at that, and none of them were quite right. And so then I looked over here at the 9 by 12 that I found. At one point I looked online and noticed they had this. So it did not have a mat inside for a smaller picture, and so usually I like to wrap things around the existing mat. So I went and bought a small mounting board and cut it to 9 by 12 and then wrapped it around that, which is the first time I've ever done that. I've always just kind of made do with what I had. So here's some detail. You've already saw this last week. Here's my stairs. I was really happy with this hat. After I washed it and laced it, it's fairly smooth in there. My tension was horrible with however I had stitched it in high school or college or whenever I finished this up. Somehow the way I was dragging threads on the back made this part kind of poofy, and it wasn't laying flat normally. And so I'm glad that when I stretched it, it looks very nice, very flat. And being behind glass, it's gonna hopefully stay that way. So it was just barely big enough. After I washed it, it seemed to shrink just a touch. So I had to actually rip out some of the serging threads that I had put around the edge, and in order not to be seen in the frame. And on all 4 sides I sewed on some muslin in order to lace it tighter, because it was just a little bit, just barely the size of the frame, so with not a lot of room to spare. But that's good. So it's a nice warm wood frame, and I think it looks really nice. There you are. So there you go. There's my finish. And I think that's everything for now. So I will sign off, and Lord willing, I'll be back next week. Enjoy your stitching and whatever you're able to do in the midst of all the fun plans your family might have. And in the meantime, happy stitching. Bye.